On Days of Our Lives today, Monday, August 25th, 2025, Brady lashes out at Kristen, Gwen makes a new friend, and Leo divulges the jury's verdict. At the hospital, Kat had her arms full with a plant when she ran into Gwen. Kat made a snarky remark, but then apologized and explained that she had just lost her job. Gwen wondered if it had anything to do with the hospital's new owner, with whom she lived. When Gwen mentioned EJ, Kat took a second look at her and asked how she knew Gwen. Gwen assumed that Kat had seen her misdeeds recounted in the tabloids and started to walk away. Kat stopped Gwen with the disclosure that she had known Gwen's husband, Dimitri, and that she couldn't stand the bastard. Kat immediately regretted speaking ill of Dimitri, but Gwen smirked and assured Kat that she fully shared the sentiment. She provided a brief recap of her nasty breakup with Dimitri and pondered why Kat had a beef with the man. Kat said she hadn't known Dimitri personally, but he had hurt many people she had come to care about in town. She extended her hand and introduced herself. Gwen recognized Kat as the woman who had impersonated my late sister Abigail. Kat started to apologize again, but Gwen wasn't put off by the news. She breezily admitted that she detested Abigail more than Dimitri. She was also impressed that Kat had managed to pull one over on the Hortons, who she correctly surmised had raked Kat over the coals. Kat was taken aback by Gwen's words and insisted she was sorry for the harm she had caused the family, and that she had only done it because of her mother. Gwen believed Kat and she were similar in that they were survivors who did anything to get what they needed. She wanted to make friends and invited Kat to lunch. Kat accepted the invitation, and Gwen strolled away with a ta-ta. At Rafe's house, Rafe admired Javi's inspired attempt at a family recipe. Their banter was interrupted by Leo's surprise arrival. Javi rushed to give Leo a hug and asked why Leo was no longer sequestered. Leo announced his stint in purgatory had ended, leading to the liberation of both Johnny and Leo himself. Javi reacted to the news with a happy kiss for Leo. After Leo updated the cousins about the happenings at the trial, Rafe expressed relief and then made an exit to give an affectionate Leo and Javi time alone. Leo complained about his roommate from hell and admitted he was disappointed he hadn't gotten to deliver the verdict. Javi preoccupied him with loving words in Spanish about how much Tesoro and he had missed Leo. Later, Leo and Javi enjoyed a stroll with Tesoro through Horton Town Square. Leo basked in breathing fresh air again. Javi tried to coax Leo to reveal the verdict. After claiming he was saving it for his tell-all book, Leo relented and told Javi the jury had voted not guilty. Just then, Gwen strode up with a cheeky, "You don't say?" The former friends resumed snarking at and insulting each other. Javi stepped in and defended Leo against Gwen's harsh words. Gwen sarcastically commended Javi's gallantry, but assured the other man he would be singing a different tune when Leo returned to form and screwed Javi over. Leo proclaimed he'd put the past, including Gwen, behind him because he was the happiest he had ever been. Gwen snarked about everyone being happy, but her friend Kristen. She didn't know what Kristen had been thinking by confessing, especially since Johnny would have been set free anyway. Leo warned Gwen not to reveal the private conversation. She hurled another insult at him and left. Leo and Javi decided to also take their leave and return home for a private celebration. Later, Javi eagerly entered his and Leo's bedroom, only to find Leo lost in thought on the bed. Kristen's confession still troubled Leo. Javi kissed him as a distraction, and Leo gladly turned his attention to his and Javi's reunion. At Rafe's office, Kat met with Rafe. She apologized for being out of commission and complimented him on his use of his alias when delivering the soup. After a short chat about Chad, Kat wanted to change the subject to EJ. She told Rafe about Marlena's leave of absence from the hospital and the subsequent loss of her job. Rafe agreed they'd have to find another way to get the information they needed. Kat suggested she had an idea, and she told Rafe about her run-in with Gwen. Kat had ingratiated herself to Gwen after she had learned Gwen lived with EJ. She was confident she could leverage a friendship with Gwen to their advantage. Rafe cautioned Kat about getting mixed up with Gwen and hinted at Chad and Gwen's tumultuous history. At the Dimera mansion, as EJ drank his troubles away, Chad came into the room and disbelievingly asked EJ for confirmation of what had happened at the trial. After EJ filled him in, Chad theorized that EJ's brain had been trying to protect him from the trauma of his sister shooting him. EJ insisted he still didn't remember, and that he was going by Kristen's claims. Chad challenged him on whether Kristen was telling the truth. EJ squirmed as Chad outlined the reasons why Kristen's last-minute confession didn't make any sense. EJ attributed Kristen's sudden confession to remorse for Johnny nearly going to prison. Chad believed Kristen always had a self-serving motive, and he couldn't understand why EJ was acting so seemingly to the events. EJ said he wanted to focus on Johnny being free. When Chad noted that while EJ had his son back, Kristen was about to be taken away from her daughter, EJ looked guilty. EJ confided that Johnny was through with him again, and Chad chastised him for his actions regarding Chanel. Looking for a change of subject, EJ turned the conversation to Kat and pressed Chad to admit he was ready to move on from Abigail. As Chad protested that Kat and he were just friends, Gwen strode inside the room and inserted herself into the conversation. She mentioned she'd just met Kat and gave her seal of approval to Chad. He clapped back at her to mind her own business and ordered her to leave. Gwen reminded Chad that the mansion was her home, and if anyone should leave, it should be him. Chad looked to EJ for backup, but he shrugged his shoulders. After Chad left in a huff, Kristen became the new topic of conversation. Gwen disclosed that she'd learned the jury would have found Johnny not guilty. EJ tried to hide his reaction, but when Gwen left, he took a large swig of his drink and mused aloud that he was sorry, but what was done couldn't be undone. Back in Horton Town Square, Chad and Kat encountered each other and had another awkward chat, in which Kat apologized again for getting Chad sick. He brushed it off and informed Kat that Julie had been surprisingly zen about the situation. Kat was relieved she hadn't done anything embarrassing or uncomfortable. Flashing back to the kiss, Chad reassured her she had nothing to worry about in that regard. Meanwhile, Rafe called Sammy and congratulated her on Johnny's exoneration. He had to talk his ex down from hopping on a plane and confronting Kristen. At the police station, Brady angrily approached Kristen's cell and began berating her for remaining silent and putting their daughter through so much trauma. Kristen asked Brady to let her explain, but Brady cut her off and coldly stated that he never thought Kristen's selfish, cruel, and sadistic nature would extend to their daughter. He called her the monster everyone warned me to stay away from. Brady then blasted Kristen for letting their nephew Johnny suffer for months, but what she had done to Rachel had been what Brady considered truly unforgivable. Kristen implored that Brady didn't understand. Brady challenged Kristen to make him understand. Kristen claimed she had shot EJ because of how angry she had been when he had taken her mom away and deprived Rachel of the chance to get to know her grandmother better. Brady countered that Kristen would have never been able to locate her mom if she had killed EJ. She said she had only meant to threaten her brother, but that the gun had accidentally gone off. Kristen further stated that she had held back on confessing because she had believed EJ could get Johnny off, but when things started looking worse for Johnny, she realized she couldn't let her nephew go to prison for a crime she had committed. After absorbing Kristen's story, Brady had a direct response. "I'm not buying it." Kristen persisted in her claims, but Brady sensed Kristen was hiding something. He vowed to find out her true motivations. Kristen begged Brady to leave it alone and to go be with Rachel, since their daughter would be losing their mother again. "And whose fault is that?" Brady asked. He raged at Kristen again and accused her of not loving Rachel. "You're a terrible mother, and you're never seeing our daughter again," Brady shouted before storming off. A heartbroken Kristen collapsed onto her bed in sobs. At Marlena's place, Marlena arrived home with Rachel and sat the little girl down. Rachel wondered if Johnny's release meant the real shooter was still out there. Marlena revealed that someone else had confessed in court. She gently broke the news to Rachel that Kristen had claimed to have shot EJ. Rachel jumped up and yelled that Marlena was lying because her mom loved Uncle EJ and would never shoot him. Rachel grew increasingly upset despite Marlena's attempts to comfort her. She continued to insist she knew that it had to be someone else. Marlena leaned down eye to eye with her granddaughter and asked Rachel how she could be so sure. Rachel hesitated, then reaffirmed that her mother wouldn't do something so bad, despite the fact that she had previously done bad things. She asked Marlena if her grandma believed it. Marlena would only say that Kristen must have had a very good reason to confess. Rachel cried that her mom couldn't go to prison. She had already lost Grandma Rachel and Grandpa John, and she couldn't take another loss. Marlena hugged her sobbing granddaughter. When Rachel settled slightly, she asked Marlena if Kristen would have to go to jail. Before Marlena could fully answer, Brady arrived and promptly went to Rachel. She tearfully wondered if Brady had heard about her mom. When Brady confirmed he had, and that he had just visited Kristen, Rachel wanted to know if her mom was okay. Brady promised Rachel that Kristen would be fine because she was one of the strongest people they knew. Rachel asked Brady about Kristen going to jail, and he said they wouldn't know immediately. Rachel begged Brady to tell her that it was all a bad dream, but the only comfort he could offer was a loving embrace. He pledged to his daughter that they'd get through it together, reaffirmed his love for her, and softly suggested she get washed up for dinner. After Rachel left the room, Brady's brave face fell, and he asked Marlena about how Rachel was really doing. She confirmed that Rachel was struggling. When Marlena inquired about Kristen, Brady vehemently declared he didn't care about Kristen or her state of mind. He couldn't comprehend how Kristen could have hurt Rachel that way. Marlena repeated his affirmation that they'd be there for Rachel and for each other as a family. As Brady hugged her, Marlena wore a look of troubled guilt. Welcome to the Days of Our Lives Daily YAPP. For a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. Days of Our Lives Kristen DiMera has come a very long way this year. When she learned that Child Protective Services was concerned about all the trouble Rachel seemed to get herself into due to her dysfunctional parents, it was like a reckoning for her. All Brady and Kristen have tried to do since then is clean up their act. But since they are both hot messes, that hasn't been easy. Now, Kristen has thrown herself on her sword and confessed to attempted murder to protect her child. While some may argue the best thing for Rachel was to face the truth and get some intense therapy from Grandma Marlena, Kristen sacrificed her freedom for her daughter, which is the most selfless thing she has ever done. When Brady railed at her for allowing Rachel to take the stand at Johnny's trial, we were Team Kristen all the way. Brady called her a terrible mother, but Kristen has proven she is anything but. She is caring and gentle with Rachel, has tried to give her a normal life despite being a DiMera, and now is willing to go to prison for years, all for Rachel's sake. We never thought we would ever care about Kristen, even when she spent a year as a nun to repent for her sins. All Kristen ever wanted was to be a mother. She might have gone about getting pregnant the wrong way, but she is now our hero for finally thinking of someone other than herself. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full DOOL recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is, if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. Here are your Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday, August 26th, 2025. Belle and Philip haven't spent much time together since Belle started dating EJ and threw herself into prosecuting Johnny. Belle even got her wish, and Johnny won't be going to jail. However, now it's time to focus on anyone who is not a DiMera. Unfortunately for Belle, she still has DiMera-related stuff taking up her mind. To that end, she pays Philip a visit and warns him that he might want to watch out for EJ and his siblings because they are determined to win DiMera Enterprises back from Philip and Xander. Philip knows he has to watch his back because if the DiMeras ever learn he forged that letter from Victor, there would be even more hell to pay than there already is. Philip pretends not to take Belle seriously because he'd rather have some fun and invites Belle to share a meal with him. Will this lead to something more for these 2 single exes? Stephanie is both thrilled and terrified now that everyone is about to read her book, even if it doesn't have her name on it. She knows she wrote it, and so do some of the people closest to her. With all the semi-autobiographical scenes in the book, Jada finds herself a bit embarrassed when she sees Alex. That doesn't seem to matter to Alex, who wants Stephanie to produce another book right away. Xander is anxious for the same, so he meets with Stephanie and even offers her some PR work. It's an abundance of riches for Salem's newest author, but she still can't have her family learning what she wrote. After Jada's encounter with Alex, she also meets with Paulina. Is Paulina about to give Jada the news she just got from Abe? He surprises his wife, but it doesn't seem like this surprise is of a personal nature. Might it have something to do with the Salem PD? Please note that if you purchase something by clicking on a link within this story, we may receive a small commission of the sale. Kat literally bumps into Gwen at the hospital while carrying a full "I'm leaving my job" packing box. Gwen, having just given blood, sips a juice box. Kat recognizes her as Dimitri's wife, and Gwen recognizes her as the person who impersonated Abigail. Kat goes into apology mode, but there's no need. If there's anyone Gwen detests more in this world than her husband, it's her late sister. Sensing they're a lot alike, Gwen suggests they get lunch someday soon and gets her number. Rafe comes to the Hernandez kitchen as Javi makes their abuelita's menudo blanco. As Rafe salivates over it, Leo returns home, free from sequestered jury duty. As the boyfriends reunite, Rafe heads off to work. In the square with Tesoro, Leo reveals to his inquiring boyfriend that the jury found Johnny not guilty. "You don't say," Gwen purrs upon walking up. The former friends bicker, leading Gwen to warn Javi that Leo will screw him over just like he did her. Leo used to wish he could take back what he did to her, but all his mistakes led him to Javi and Tesoro. He's the happiest he's ever been. Gwen mocks his happiness and strolls away. Leo and Javi go home for a proper reunion in their bedroom, but Leo is distracted by the trial. There's something off about Kristen's confession. However, he's easily redistracted by his attentive and shirtless boyfriend. Kat comes to Rafe's office as he congratulates Johnny over the phone. When he hangs up, Kat informs him she's out of a job since Marlena is taking time off. Since she won't be working there, she won't be able to dig for dirt on EJ's purchase of the hospital. However, she may have a new way in. Gwen. Rafe warns that Chad and Gwen have history, and none of it is good. After Kat leaves, Rafe assures Sammy, over a one-sided phone call, that Johnny is home safe with his wife, where he belongs. Rafe reminds her she's talking to a federal agent, so he'd prefer she not threaten Kristen's life. Besides, he has a feeling that if the justice system doesn't deal with Kristen, EJ will. Chad rushes into the Dimera mansion, having heard from his reporters that Kristen shot EJ, but he doesn't think it makes any sense. As a sullen EJ defends their sister, Chad questions his calm demeanor. All EJ cares about is that Johnny is free. That may be true, Chad says, but now Kristen will be separated from her child. When he brings up EJ trying to pin the murder on his daughter-in-law, EJ changes the conversation to Chad's love life, specifically Kat Green. Chad insists they are just friends as Gwen strolls in, overhearing yet another conversation. She just met Kat today, and Chad could do a lot worse than that, babe. They engage in a childish "go away, no you go away" back and forth until Chad leaves. Alone with EJ, Gwen tells him the jury was going to find Johnny not guilty. When Gwen leaves for a nap, EJ deeply sighs. "I'm sorry, Kristen. What's done is done." Kat and Chad run into each other outside Sweet Bits. He reports that Julie was surprisingly zen about him staying at Kat's place while he was sick. Upon recovering from her shock, Kat recalls how out of it she was while feverish. "You would tell me if I did something embarrassing, right?" Chad recalls her kissing him. "You have nothing to feel bad about," he says with a grin. Marlena brings Rachel to the penthouse and gently tells her that Kristen confessed to EJ's shooting. Rachel refuses to believe her mother would do this. She cries over losing Grandma Rachel and Grandpa John. She can't lose her mommy too. Brady rails at Kristen through jail cell bars for not only letting Johnny take the fall for EJ's shooting, but for putting their daughter through the agony of testifying against him. When Kristen reiterates her cover story, a skeptical Brady muses that she never would have let things get this far if it were truly an accident. Besides, if history has taught her anything, it's that she can skate on charges. Brady vows to find out what she's hiding, but Kristen begs him to let it go and just be with their daughter. Brady berates her until she's in tears. He calls her a terrible mother who'll never see her daughter again. She sobs as he storms out. Brady comes home and tries to reassure his teary-eyed daughter that everything will be okay. When Rachel leaves the room, Marlena asks how Kristen is holding up. "I don't care," Brady says. How could she do this to their little girl? Marlena assures him they'll all be there for Rachel as a family. Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Tuesday, August 26th reveal that Jada Hunter will get an awkward surprise while Belle Black sounds the alarm. Paulina Price will also get unexpected news, so there'll be a lot happening in Salem. At the police station, Jada will have a meeting with Paulina, who may express concern over Kristen DiMera's confession and how Johnny DiMera's trial was handled. The whole thing turned into quite the circus act, so Paulina won't be pleased. Meanwhile, Days spoilers say Stephanie Johnson will have a meeting of her own with Xander Kyriakis, so they'll have an important discussion about PR strategies. Back with Paulina, she'll get some intriguing updates from Abe Carver as he announces a new job. Abe's latest gig will catch Paulina off guard, but she should be happy he's found a fresh project to throw himself into. As for Gabby Hernandez, she's set to wake up in bed with Philip Kyriakis soon. Since Gabby convinced Philip to head to the bistro with her, DOOL fans may see the morning after on Tuesday's Days episode. Ariana Ari Horton will end up putting Gabby through a grilling session, so she may wonder why her mom was out all night. Gabby will answer Ari's questions as well as some from Javi Hernandez, who'll want the full scoop on Gabby's interactions with the Kyriakis brothers lately. As for Belle, Days spoilers say she'll give Philip a warning. If Belle realizes Philip's getting too close to Gabby, she may sound the alarm and fear he's headed down a bad road. Gabby isn't the most trustworthy person around town, so Belle will want Philip to be careful. Philip may insist he'd rather spend his free time with Belle anyway, since the two of them will play hooky at some point this week. Until then, we should talk about some awkwardness that's brewing for Jada and Alex Kyriakis. There'll be some sort of encounter that leaves them both uncomfortable, so maybe Alex will be scantily clad and waiting for Stephanie when Jada appears. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Jada and Alex may wind up a little embarrassed by the whole thing, so stay tuned. Days of Our Lives spoilers update for the week of August 25-29 reveals that Marlena Evans will face an alarming ambush, while Chanel Dupree DiMera and Johnny DiMera's romantic night gets derailed. First, let's talk about Ariana Ari Horton, since she'll put Gabby Hernandez through a grilling session. Ari may have some questions about her mom's love life, but Gabby will surely have a tough time answering them. Gabby may be more willing to be honest with Javi Hernandez when he quizzes her next. However, Gabby will have a tough time knowing where Xander Kyriakis and Philip Kyriakis' heads are at following her flirty moves. Despite landing in bed with Gabby, Philip will seem more interested in reconnecting with Belle Black in the coming episodes. Gabby will have some work to do if she wants to put Philip's attention back on her, but it seems she'll pull it off with a desktop hookup eventually. Days spoilers say Gabby will still be after takedown dirt, but she may struggle with some messy feelings in the midst of all this. Over with Leo Stark, he'll be skeptical of Kristen DiMera's confession when he opens up to Chad DiMera about the trial. Chad will struggle to believe Kristen's guilt as well, so his digging could present a problem for both Kristen and EJ DiMera. Rachel Black is the one who pulled the trigger, so we'll see if Chad can eventually put together some clues and figure that out. Now that Stephanie Johnson has agreed to do some PR for Titan, Days spoilers say she'll have a strategy session with Xander. Alex Kyriakis will also end up in a situation where he feels the need to offer Sarah an apology. Since Alex will sense that Sarah still loves Xander and wishes things were different, he may push Xander toward a reunion later. Other DOOL spoilers say Susan Banks will ambush Marlena with updates on some disturbing news. Since Susan will feel like the trouble in Marlena's mind, body and soul is getting worse, she'll try to intervene somehow. As for Johnny and Chanel, they'll take time to recharge as a couple after all the trial chaos. This will be Johnny and Chanel's chance to ramp up the romance, but things will get derailed due to a surprise interruption. Meanwhile, Days spoilers say Brady Black won't be able to shake the feeling that Sophia Choi is lying. Sophia tried to cover after her baby gender slip-up, but Brady sensed that Sarah was hiding something, too. Brady will fear there are even more secrets, so he'll fill Steve Johnson in on the situation and get some private investigator help. That'll pave the way for Brady to score some disturbing info about Sophia and all her deception. Brady won't figure out the whole Tesoro truth yet, but he'll definitely put Sophia in a tight spot with all his investigating. Sophia will also manage to get on Holly Jonas's bad side in the week ahead. Holly will pick up on Sophia's desire to steal Tate back for herself, so she'll make it clear that it's not happening. Gwen von Leuschner will also find new ways to make Leo miserable in the coming episodes, while Kat Green turns to EJ for employment. Days of Our Lives spoilers say the week of August 25th to 29 will bring some highs and lows, so stay tuned. Days of Our Lives spoilers are in for Monday, August 25th, 2025. In tomorrow's episode, fans can expect Belle Black to warn Philip Kyriakis. Jada Hunter has an awkward encounter with Alex Kyriakis. Plus, Abe Carver announces he has a hot new gig. Keep reading, and let's talk about what is coming up in the Peacock soap opera. Let's start off with Jada, who has an awkward encounter with Alex. Since the man recently tried acting out scenes from Stephanie Johnson's naughty novel, he probably does it again. Instead of facing Stephanie, a barely clad Alex will likely face Jada. While it will be awkward, it will make for a funny story later on. Of course, it could convince Alex that he and Stephanie need their own place. Over with Ari Horton, she will have a demand for Gabby Hernandez. Javi Hernandez wants to know the juicy details about Gabby's love triangle. However, I think Ari knows her mother best and will immediately recognize that Gabby is playing a game. Ari could demand to know why her mother is targeting Philip and Xander Cook Kyriakis. Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Tuesday, August 26th reveal that Xander will have a chat with Stephanie. The two will iron out the details about Stephanie's public relations plan for Xander and Titan. However, Stephanie could have some concerns and might face some challenges with taking on Xander as a new client. Stephanie might insist that the first thing Xander has to do is calm down his temper. The man might tell her that he's seeking therapy from Marlena Evans. However, with Marlena focused on Rachel Black and taking a leave of absence from the hospital, where does that leave Xander's anger management treatment? Fans will also see Abe share some stunning news with Paulina Price. The former mayor will tell Paulina that he has a hot, new gig. Let's hope this isn't another TV venture. The Body and Soul storyline was not a favorite with fans. So, what could this new gig be, and what kind of complications come with it? If it has anything to do with needing a space, Paulina mentioned something recently that could intervene with that. The mayor brushed off a permit and zoning meeting. The mayor could regret that decision, so stay tuned. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most on Tuesday, August 26, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on Peacock to find out what happens next. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Sophia Choi had a major slip of the tongue when talking about her baby in front of Brady Black. Brady just cannot let go of Sophia, calling that baby a boy. Brady also asked Sarah Horton about her looks of shock when he told her the baby was a girl. Will Brady figure this out? Sarah has gone to Sophia and asked her to be honest more than once. However, Sophia is convinced that Tate Black will never forgive her. Sarah has tried to get Sophia to look at how things are going so far. If Sophia were to be honest, she could allow Tate to connect with his child and tell the truth. Now that Tate has decided to give up on seeing his child, he has decided to leave well enough alone. Tate sees how upset that Sophia is getting over this, and he wants to hurt Sophia anymore. However, that does not mean that Brady is about to let this go. Brady wanted to meet his grandchild as well. Will Sophia finally come clean? Brady is not about to let this slip-up go. He knows that something isn't right about this visit, and he is going to back down until he gets answers. Sarah cannot tell Brady the truth because of confidentiality issues. However, Sarah feels really bad about not being able to help. Could Sarah possibly leave a message open and accidentally allow Brady to see it? Will Brady simply confront Sophia and demand the truth out of her? Brady wants his son to know the truth, and he knows Sophia is not being honest. Will Brady figure out that the baby was not only a boy, but he is right there in Salem? Will Tate learn that he has already bonded with his son even though he didn't know it? Sophia's elaborate hope is going to blow up, and chances are it will be from Brady pushing this issue with the baby. Unfortunately, Tate is not likely to forgive Sophia for this betrayal when she has known all along that she lied to him. Will Tate manage to spend more time with his K-child now that he may learn where the baby is? Tate deserves to know his child and have a chance to spend time with him. Will Tate finally get that chance? Could Johnny DiMera and Chanel DiMera end up adopting the baby after all? What will happen to Sophia when she finds herself all alone?